Okay, if I'm gonna be honest, starting this off, this is the second attempt at recording something, and I don't know if it's gonna happen again, but and I'm in some sense I'm not angry because my iPhone just showed up being full and then the video stopped recording. But in some sense I am because like I was really I was in some sense getting to the point, um, trying to get all like this these negative emotions I'm feeling because of certain events that have happened recently out of my system, and um, this channel has been a safe space where I can go and express my thoughts and get the emotions out and that sort of thing. But I guess I'll try and give a TLDR for my like nearly half an hour long attempt at a video earlier. So, handful of good things have happened with asterisks on them. Got a job offer at a renewable energy company. It's a production associate job, so it's another technician job. I can't seem to get out from those right now because I don't got the education or the training or the experience or the connections, or I don't have the track record or whatever. Plan is for that to change once I'm in the graduate school program, fully matriculated, all that. Other thing is that the semester is ending, and barring the fact that I had to drop a couple classes, most of my grades are either looking good or there's I can bring them up. There's that possibility there. Um, the job offer thing, the asterisk on that is that gotta do a background check. I'm kind of concerned about that because I didn't list that job I had for like 3 weeks. I'm not sure if it's going to show up and they're going to have questions about that. I hope that's not the case. What was the other thing? So, the whole graduate school thing, semester ending, yada yada. I got to retake a couple classes this next semester, which I'm signed up for, and there's just always this like anxiety I have about, those things get started in my family creating some sort of havoc for me or intruding on that, and just they kind of just don't give a fuck about what their actions do in that department because it's not their dream, it's not their life. They don't give enough. They've their life has run its course, or they just they want to see me screw up because it'll prevent me from reflecting back poorly on them if I go and accomplish all these things. It's kind of like if I had a really hot girlfriend and we were on the verge of getting married. It's like almost my sister would want me to break up with her just so that she wouldn't have to deal with the fact that her now ex-fiance left her for a younger woman, which is a TLDR version of that. Not getting into too many details. But yeah, there's a couple good things. The other thing is that God, how do I get into this without having this turn into another half an hour video that just like bugs out on me? So we've gone through a year-long process of fighting in court over our grandmother's estate, with our intention to keep the house, that their cousins wanted to sell it because they want money, which doesn't say that other people in the family aren't after money. Which that could be a whole nother video. And it's gotten to the point where we finally were going through with this mortgage process, and they did a title search and they found out that, oh, it looks like the house isn't even in your grandmother's name, which I had my suspicions of. I had questioned my grandma about. She never gave me straight answers, which just makes me feel like I was lied to, used, abused. Maybe not abused. Maybe that's too strong of a word, but used for attention. That she never really trusted me as much as I thought she did. And I trusted her way more and opened up to her way more. Maybe I should have about things in life. But finding that out and then looking back over the last year and just all the stressors and associated anxiety I faced, and how it's negatively impaired my life, or negatively affected my life, leading me to having to drop classes because got so far behind that I was on the verge of failing them, um, or having to retake classes, and just, it's been another case of like, oh, let me see, another member of my family made some really dumb decisions, and now it's, screwing up my trajectory right when I thought that, oh, I put so much work in, I was making progress and things were just going swimmingly, and then, you know, somebody had to come along and just cause me a bunch of grief. And thinking back on that, the classes I've had to drop, particularly this, well, there's a physics 2 class that this year's spring semester, this will be last spring technically, academically speaking. And then the 2 classes of circuits and status class I had to drop, which I started off doing well in those, and then because of having to take on that crap job, which I have to now be concerned about, what if this new place finds out about that, and what are they going to think, and what's that going to do? Having to go through all of that, and then finding out that it was all a bunch of bull hockey behind it, that it was like, there actually was no house there, and we've been fighting with our cousins and squabbling with them, and they've been pilfering that house and threatening us and da. And it's like, hey, here's the bag of nothing y'all were fighting over. We were all fighting over. I was so, so concerned about, so afraid about, and it's a big bag of nothing because grandma went behind everybody's back, and maybe it's, I'm sure that somebody's going to say that, that phrasing of it is not legit, or, she didn't go behind his back. It was her house to begin with. But in essence, went behind everybody's back and sold the house off to some jagoff couple, back in 2015. And then that was sold again, down the line to some guy who, the reviews that I've seen of him say that he's basically like a slumlord. And it's like, wow, like, I mean, if in the end it's completely gone, it's like, wow, like here's what you guys thought was there, which is nothing, and it didn't even take anything except the mere mention of the possibility of getting money out of an estate for you guys to show your true colors and really like say and do all the things that you said and did, which, there's that aspect of where I'm just like, wow, like that's really what these people all are. And that even includes like, people in my immediate family. Thinking about my sister right now. But yeah, all of that, that's kind of been, that's totally been eaten away at me. I've been able to sort of distract myself with, I gotta work on this assignment, or I gotta go through all this paperwork or whatever. I want to have that done tomorrow, best of my abilities. But it's like, wow, like it's like this huge nothing burger. It's like paying exorbitant, fee for something. You go to a restaurant and you pay like $50 for some steak, and you're told that, it's this like, I don't know, porterhouse steak, so many ounces, I don't know, let's say a 12-ounce steak, and then you pay the money, and then they bring it to you, and it's like this, it's a truly like paper thin thing, and it's like, oh, it's been finely aged and cooked in this and that, and it's this huge friggin' steak, and then you get it, and then you're like, wait, what? This can't be right. It's not what I paid for. And they're like, oh, actually, we told you we had all this steak back there, but just forgot that we had to use up like 95% of it on a catering event for some business luncheon or whatever. And it's like, like, I want my money back. Well, sorry, you can't get your money back because whatever reason, You know, you see right here, sign on the dotted line, it said, like, and right below the fine print, you know, that, like, all, you know, purchases are final, you know, whatnot. It's like, it feels like that, but on a such a, you know, more personal level, where it's like, you know, this is like my grandmother who portrayed herself in a certain light for so many years, you know, and, you know, on top of that, like, just how I was raised, where I was told all these things about, you know, how, oh yeah, you know, the family's history is so illustrious, and, you know, all these things, and yada yada, and then finding out that, you know, there's nothing there. It's all gone. And it's all gone because somebody just wanted to get some fast cash. And, you know, technically speaking, by the law, she could do that. I mean, it is her, it was her house at the time that she decided to sell it. It was. I'll grant you that, but as some have used the expression, it's a real douche move. Um, you know, particularly if you've got the kinds of kids or grandkids who, you know, if you pass something like that on, like a house or something else, you know, value to it, it would be like, you know, it would be, it wouldn't be that you're giving something off to some, like, parasitic personality, but that you're giving, you know, it's like a legacy passing on to somebody who's worthy of it, who would make you proud, who would use it for good. And, you know, if you have kids like that and you go, screw it, I want, you know, I want an extra 50K, you know, this year, I want some extra cash in my bank account so I can go out and, you know, buy myself some steak dinners and all that. It's like, you know, like, it's, you can do that, but it's a douche move, and it's really short-sighted and selfish and stupid, you know, particularly when you've gotten to have a life already. And it's like, you know, you think, like, nowadays, what's one of the biggest complaints among millennials and zoomers? I'll never be able to afford a house no matter how much I work, because look how much houses cost and what you'd have to be able, you know, and I'm going to be a forever renter. And then, you know, you think of all the decisions that fall subsequent to that, you know, and you, like, get into people talking about, well, why aren't people having kids? Why aren't they getting married? Why this, that, and the other? And it's like, have you looked at yourselves? Have you looked at some of the decisions you made, you know, in the last, like, 5 to 10 or maybe 20 years, 5, 10, 15, 20 years? Like, have you considered that might, you know, be what's contributing to a lot of these results that you're now complaining about? Like, I thought I could have my cake and eat it too. You know, the level of entitlement and short-sightedness, and, you know, I mean, functionally speaking, it seems like narcissism, you know, or at least solipsism. But I'm glad I'm able to sound a little more rational about it now. You know, like 15, 20 minutes ago, I was really, really angry. Still kind of feeling it. I don't know what the plan is going forward exactly. I think my dad's a little more optimistic about things and thinks that, you know, okay, we hire a new attorney to replace our current attorney who's retiring, and then we, you know, try and litigate things with this other guy who supposedly owns the deed and therefore the house. The upside of it is, like, you know, there's been this, like, obsession with, and, you know, rightly so, I think, but it's obsession with making sure that the other two cousins, who are 100% cutthroat, money-grubbing vultures, that they don't get a single cent out of the house, which, if this guy actually owns it, then no, none of the cousins are entitled to any shares in the house, therefore have no, you know, stake in it. Therefore, it would just be a straight up, you know, regular old buying a house process, as opposed to something where you got to buy out cousins who then take money from you and that sort of thing. But yeah, it's been this huge nothing burger that we found out about. God, you know, like, I think it was, I think it was Thursday or Friday. Yeah, because I'd had to get at least 3 months of rental payment records, plus my W-2s from my W-2 from last year. Send that all over, and, you know, this, that, and the other. And you know, went to bed thinking, hoping that, you know, the next day, whenever I got up, I mean, it was technically, I guess it was already Friday by the time I went to bed, but just couldn't sleep. But thinking that whenever I woke up or I got the call from my dad or, email, checking my email, that I'd see that, oh, they processed the paperwork and everything went through. And then it's like, nope, actually, this house isn't even owned by the estate of your deceased grandmother. And then thinking back and going, oh yeah, my suspicions, the conversations I had with her, the dodgy responses, because I think she kind of figured that if she told me the truth, maybe that she'd, get a less than savory response from me, and then that would be the end of things, because I would just be like, well, what's the point now? You want to explain to me why you did that? And then just like her fumbling over things, it's screwed up, because I'm talking to my grandmother here, and I did tell her, and I felt this, this way, honestly, that, oh, she was my hero, or one of my heroes, just like my grandpa was, and then just to think like, wow, like what a damn fool I was, what a rube I was, thinking that, there was actually like a legit connection there, that, and she was, 100% honest with me and all those things. And it's like, and she went behind everybody's backs and did this. And I told my dad that, like, when it came to my mom, I think I have a lot more sympathy for her. I don't think that she was justified in doing a lot of things that she did or said, but I can kind of see why she had a lot of the mental health issues she had, because you grew up with a mother like that who was doing these kinds of things behind people's back, and being very entitled, solipsistic, perhaps even narcissistic, pulling the rug out from under you, completely out of the blue. I mean, which is kind of what pulling the rug out from you, implies. Um, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody had issues with anxiety and depression and trust issues, and perhaps even substance abuse, particularly coming from, background my mom came from. But yeah, it's, as time goes on, I discover more and more about things about people and my family, by extension, that just like, it makes me even more like cynical about people and humans and life, because like, I have this sense of things that I need to have some sort of grand overarching purpose to go on and do what I'm doing, strive after what I'm striving after. Because, the question always remains, like, what is the point? I mean, I think about my grandpa, and I know he wasn't perfect. I know he made some really, but what you might call boneheaded decisions at different points in his life. But, he worked and worked and worked very hard. And yeah, you can get into the discussion about how, working hard doesn't get you anything, or it doesn't get you as far ahead, or you got to work smart, or you got to be excuse me, you got to be slick, you got to be sleazy, you got to be, unscrupulous, you got to be a cheater. But he worked, not only to pay off the initial mortgage that they had, which is the equivalent of like 110, 120K in, present day dollars, but then worked to pay off a second mortgage, which was used to build the garage, double the size of the house, all those things. Pay that off about, like, I think 10 to 15 years ahead of schedule. And, he never really got to retire. I mean, he was retired when he passed away, but we're talking like dying at 66. And I don't know. I mean, I think retirement age was probably, I think from what I've heard, it was in your 50s back then. Might not have been in your 60s, but still, he didn't really get to enjoy that. And then for his widow to turn around and just sell it down the river because, I'll be gone, not my problem. I just want to enjoy, this money now. It's my money and I want it now, It's like this classic example of like why so many people who complain about the way the world's gone, and it's gone to crap, and and this, that, and the other sucks, and oh, it used to be so much better, and they want to have some scapegoat they want to blame about, some external scapegoat. it's this group or that group or those people or blah 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 blah. It's like, no, look yourself in the mirror, jagoff. Like, you did this stuff to yourself, or your demographic, whatever that is, that wants to complain and blame others. Like, you guys did that. Like, have you considered like looking yourself in the mirror and examining your decisions? And oh no, can't do that, because then they wouldn't be able to just like rage at people. They'd have to sit there and stew in the consequences of their own actions. And it's like stuff like this. Like, I'm at this point in my life where I think I viscerally understand, why intergenerational wealth is such a huge topic, and why, like, being able to own your own home free and clear. I mean, aside from property taxes, essentially have it as freehold property, being able to pass it on to your kids. Why it's such a big deal? Why it's such a big deal if you actually have a paid off house that you've inherited, particularly in an area that you're willing and able to live in. Why that is such a huge head start, and why, certain groups in particular being denied that, why that has set them back so far, and why it has created such like anger and frustration. But in this case in particular, it's been, in addition to that, it's been this hey, you could, if you just played by the rules, done things, the right way, like, things wouldn't have to be as hard as they are. And it's just, just making things harder than they had to be, because somebody, was selfish, somebody was self-centered, somebody was solipsistic, short-sighted, narcissistic, or just downright stupid, didn't understand finance, got scammed out of this. And it's like, it's like I look at it now and I think, wow, like, was my grandma really like that naive? Was she really that petty? Was that what this was all about? Like, what the heck actually did happen? Like, what got into her mind that she was like, oh, I don't need this place, I'm gonna get rid of it? Like, why? Because even if she wanted to play favorites and she wanted to favor certain people or the other or something like that, like, you keep the house, you let it be sold, or maybe somebody would buy it out in the family, and money would be exchanged, and one person would get some cash to get themselves a head start in life, the other person would get a house. It's like, man, what the heck happened? What the hell happened? That's what I want to know. And if we get this new lawyer hired, like, we're gonna have to do some discovery on that, discovery search or process or whatever on that, to find out like what the heck is really up with this. Because like, this is nuts. So as far as I'm concerned, it's really demoralizing, frustrating. It makes me really angry. Because it's not really about getting a free house. I wasn't going to be getting a free house. Like, we had to be taking out a mortgage, and sooner rather than later, I'd have to be, making payments, and hopefully making payments with an income that was like significantly higher than, I'd be starting out with. And it's not about that. It's not about getting money. It's like this, I feel betrayed. I feel like a betrayal of trust. Like, why didn't she tell me about these things? Why didn't she tell any of us about these things? What was she going and doing, even if she was still going to go ahead and do that, like, just the, hey, like, unless you guys are going to move back in this area or what have you, like, I was thinking about, selling the house, because, like, I don't have a lot of money, or, or if she was like, having some financial difficulties, still, just tell us, hey, I'm having financial difficulties, I need some more cash, I was thinking about refinancing the house, because then I'd have some extra cash every week or every month, and something like that, and if she wanted to go ahead with it, like, still, like, let us know, so we know ahead of time, so we know not that we're not going to be having a fight over who gets what. But anyways, I'm gonna head back in, Might make myself some soup. I'm not really on the low carb diet right now. I need to get back onto that, but I need to like go through and survival food right now. Really is a thing because I just don't have that much. I don't have the cash right now. Probably make myself another cup of coffee, staying up all night, working on some assignments. But man, you know, this whole thing, just I could go on and on and on and just sit here and come up with more words to express what I've already expressed, you know, my emotions. But anyways, hopefully I'll see you folks around, and hopefully, you know, obviously be coming back with, you know, on a longer streak of no fap and maybe with some more positive news. But anyways, thanks for watching, and bye-bye.